All right, welcome to the 32nd edition of the Sports Mashup show. October 6th is the day, the first one of October for us, and interesting things to talk about. I mean, you got the Major League Baseball postseason, you got the NBA and the NHL starting up again soon, the NFL into Week 4, going into Week 5 this week, some golf, the new season, a couple weeks in now at this point. We'll start in the NBA, where we usually do, with a couple of news pieces.
Yeah, you got Pau Gasol officially retiring, which everyone, I don't know if he's retiring just from the NBA or from basketball in general, because he was playing overseas last year.
Yeah, he was on the Spain Olympic team.
Yeah, so I don't know if he's done, or if he's just saying he's officially retiring from the NBA and he's still going to play overseas, or what. And then you have Kyrie cannot practice with the team in Brooklyn.
Yeah, that is
because of his vaccine status.
Yeah, they have the vaccine mandate there, and then they also have it in California for the Warriors. So those are the two cities really affected by it, and teams. You got three teams affected by it. But, I mean, Kyrie is putting the Nets in an impossible position. Like, what are they supposed to do? I mean, if I'm the Nets, you already have James Harden and Kevin Durant. Honestly, I'd get rid of Kyrie at this point. I mean, it's too much of a distraction. If the Nets allow him to be a part-time player where he's playing road games, he's putting him in a really tough spot.
Yeah, because it said like he would, if he misses a game, he gets so much of his check or something, he'll lose like $380,000 a game.
Yeah, I don't think he cares about the money, though. And it's very, very odd. I think if you're the Nets, you kind of probably at this point you wish you didn't sign Kyrie and maybe you kept Dinwiddie in there. But, yeah, I mean, Harden can play point guard without Kyrie there. So they're still going to be very good, but this is just a really tough spot to be in.
And who's the other one? It's Wiggins for the Warriors, right?
That was an issue, and then I believe he got vaccinated, so they're good to go there, which isn't as big of a deal as if it was Steph Curry or Klay Thompson, that'd be a big deal. But here's the thing. Kyrie Irving is one of the weirdest basketball superstars of all time. Like, some of the things that he's done and said is just very weird. And here's the thing. The reason that the Nets are in an impossible position is because they look very weak if they just allow him to be a part-time player. When their number one, his contract is as big as it is. Now, he's not going to get all the money. We know that. But he's one of the biggest stars in the game. And the people that he politically looks up to clearly are the ones who are putting in this vaccine mandate. And then he's not going to get the vaccine. It's very weird. It really is.
I mean, the earth is flat.
He believes that as well. So you can add that to his resume. He's got a lot going on. So we'll see. I mean, you got to think it works itself out like these things usually do. But you never know with this guy. So who knows? But the NBA season will start in a couple weeks. We'll have a preview going on that. The NFL Week 4 is done. You had the Thursday night game, which ended up being a pretty good game. Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence kind of showed you flashes of what he can be and what he is as the number one overall pick. He got back-to-back years of the number one overall picks. The Bengals win it on a Evan McPherson game-winning field goal, his second of the year in 4 games. They're 3-1. So,
and this is his rookie year, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So good start for him.
And then you had Urban Meyers.
Oh, God. I mean, Urban Meyer is a joke. I mean, I said this a couple weeks ago. This thing is not going to last long. Really embarrassing. Number one, you don't ride home with the team because you want to visit your grandkids. I mean, give me a break. That's terrible. There's like 2 or 3 different reasons as to why a coach wouldn't travel with the team. Number one is like a death. You got to go to a funeral or something. Number 2, like an injury or something where you can't fly. Urban Meyer is a clown.
At least it's a Thursday night game where you're not doing anything over the weekend.
Yeah, but it's really a bad look because think about this. He's making $10 million a year. You fly home with your team, then you fly back to Ohio on a private jet because you can clearly afford it. This is a college football coach trying to be an NFL coach, and it doesn't work, especially when you have this big of an ego and a team that is this bad. It's not going to last long.
Just got someone recording you at a bar.
It's the place that he's at is something that he owns. Does he not expect there to be people recognizing him or recording him? Like, how dumb can you be? If you're a player there, how do you have any respect for him? I mean, the only winning that he's done is at the college level when, let's be honest, when you coach at Ohio State, the recruiters or the players show up. I mean, it's not you don't have to be much of a recruiter.
Well, that and Florida.
I know the Wi-Fi right now is really screwing us here, but
I was going to say, are you still there?
I absolutely am. He had success elsewhere, but like, what a joke. I mean, the guy's a joke. It's not going to last long. If he coaches more than 40 games there, I'd be shocked, which that's over 2 seasons. So the Giants and Jets both get their first wins of the season. In overtime, you had the Giants winning in New Orleans. You had the Jets winning at home over the Titans. Zach Wilson also showed flashes.
Yeah, both shockers. Zach Wilson started the game out like 1 for 7 with a pick.
Yep.
And looked like the Titans were going to run away with that game.
Then he showed up.
Mm-hmm.
He does have that. I'm not going to compare him and say he's going to be as good as Mahomes or Rodgers, but he does have those types of throws in him. That one to Corey Davis to score the touchdown was one of those. That was a really, really tremendous throw. But the Chiefs did bounce back. They scored 42 in Philly to beat the Eagles by 12. I don't know.
I don't know if we lost Ethan or not. But we did have the Cowboys beat the Panthers, scoring 36 points. A real barn burner as the Browns beat the Vikings 14-7. The Bills embarrassed Houston, beating them 40-0. I believe this was at Houston. The Colts get their first win over the Dolphins.
I think I'm back. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
All right. So you can just finish these off and we'll discuss.
The Washington football team comes back to beat the Falcons the first time Matt Ryan has lost to Washington.
That was a comeback win.
The Cardinals are the only 4-0 team in the NFL with massive wins over Rams. Seahawks, Packers, and Ravens all win as well. Bucks edge out a win against the Pats in Sunday Night Football. And Herbert Azabisa's Chargers beat Raiders on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, a lot of takeaways from these games. I mean, you look at Washington coming back. I think Heineke's clearly the guy there, even when Fitzmagic is healthy. I think he knows what to do. I think him and McLaurin are really good together, though, so I like that. And he can move a lot more than Fitzpatrick can, so I think that's a big factor as well. Arizona. This is a team that I doubted a lot going into the season. I didn't think they'd be that good. I thought they'd be like explosive and be able to score, but their defense seems pretty good. Yeah, very good team. I didn't think Cliff Kingsbury was a very good coach, but I still,
they still haven't like named who the starter is, running back wise. Like they say it's Chase Edmonds, but now James Conner's getting a lot of touches.
I think it's kind of like a platoon situation. I think it kind of works because both of them are good and they can throw the ball really well too. And Kyler Murray's pretty much running everywhere.
Well, It's killing my fantasy because I don't know when to put James Conner in.
I just cut him.
Not 2 weeks ago, someone else cut him, and I picked him up and put him in 2 weeks ago when he scored the first 2 touchdowns. Then he had 2 more last week, but I have him on my bench. But it didn't matter. I won by 30.
Speaking of back to the Washington-Atlanta game, Cordero Patterson might be the greatest fantasy football player of all time. I just picked him up, 35 points last week. I mean, good Lord. He's like the best player on the Falcons right now.
There you might be there, but not best fantasy player of all time.
I mean, he's doing pretty well.
I mean, Tyreek did have 11 catches for 100 and something yards and 3 touchdowns.
If you want to go based off of expectations, nobody expected Cordero Patterson to be an elite fantasy football player this year. Everyone knew Tyreek Hill was going to be like that, but the Seahawks beat the Niners. That was an interesting game. I mean, Trey Lance comes in, Garoppolo goes down. I think at one point Trey Lance was 1 for 5 with 76 yards and a touchdown. So I don't know what to make of the Seahawks either. I mean, their defense is terrible, but their offense can always be good as long as Russell Wilson's healthy. So it's an interesting one there.
Yeah, I don't know.
The Steelers are terrible. Packers beat them. Ben Roethlisberger's done. Let's be honest. Ravens, unsurprisingly, beat the Broncos. That was always going to happen. The Bucs-Pats game, I picked the Patriots to cover. They did cover. If you look at, I think this was a success for Bill Belichick, even though they lost, even though it was raining. But Brady was very off throughout the game. He missed a lot of throws, even though he did have a terrific throw on that last drive to Antonio Brown in the end zone that Brown dove and dropped. But just a weird game. I mean, the Bucs offense didn't really seem in sync, but I also thought that the number of looks that Belichick was throwing at them coverage-wise was also, affecting them. But
yeah, I wish Gronk was healthy for this game just for both of them to be back there.
Yeah, that would have changed things too. You can tell that Brady's much more comfortable with Gronk than Brate, I think.
I think he likes Brate and Howard. I think he likes O.J. Howard more than Brate, but O.J. Howard was out all year last year.
It's just different, him and Gronk, how much they've played together. So, yeah. And then the Herbert thing, I mean, he's a stud. Let's just be honest. I have tweets from before the 2020 draft talking about I think he's, the real deal, going to be the best in that class. So, I was right. Most people were wrong. Imagine drafting Tua over Herbert. I mean, come on. It's just stupid because the injury issues were a huge concern with Tua, and they've clearly played out in the NFL because he cannot stay healthy at all. And Herbert is a 6'6", huge quarterback, an enormous arm. I mean, some of those bullets he's throwing in the red zone are just ridiculous. So, yeah, he's the next big thing. I think he'll be a top 3 quarterback in the league for years to come after this year. So, NFL Week 4 awards. In the NFC, you had Daniel Jones, who's had a quiet, good season. I know the team's 1-3, but he's had a very solid season. Gets it in the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. Trayvon Diggs, who has like a 6,000 interceptions this year for the Cowboys. He had 2 more last week. He's the Defensive Player of the Week. And then DeAndre Carter, Washington Football Team, kick returner, Special Teams Player of the Week. Then in the AFC, you had Burrow, who I think the Bengals scored on every drive in the second half. He was the AFC Offensive Player of the Week. Tremaine Edmonds for Buffalo was the Defensive Player of the Week. And then Special Teams was Rigoberto Sanchez, the
punter,
heir apparent to Pat McAfee, the punter of the Colts, which is a legendary position at this point. So congrats to him. NFL division leaders. NFC, Cowboys are 3-1. The Packers are 3-1. The Panthers and Bucks are tied in the South, both 3-1, and Arizona 4-0 in the West. In the AFC, the Bills, who, let's be honest, their schedule after their loss to the Steelers has been hilariously bad. They're 3-1. They got the Chiefs this week, though, so big game there. Then you have the Ravens, Browns, and Bengals all 3-1. You have the Titans. I believe they're 2-2 in the AFC South, so they're a game ahead of the 1-3 and 1-3 Colts and 1-3 Texans. And then you have the Raiders, Broncos, and Chargers all 3-1 in the AFC. So a lot of 3-1 teams, and sure that'll work its way out in the next few weeks. You also had the Patriots cut, and then they still had a window to trade him. So they traded all-pro cornerback Stephon Gilmore to the Panthers for a 2023 sixth-round pick. So,
yeah, how much is this a slap in the face to Gilmore?
Well, I think, number one, the injury concerns. He's not going to be able to play this week or next week. I think the week after he can come back. Now, if he would have been cut officially and then signed somewhere, then he could play as soon as possible, but he's still on the PUP list this week and next week. Number two, he was not ever going to play for the Patriots again. And he wants more money. He's 31 years old. The other thing you got to think about is the Patriots have really good corners without him. J.C. Jackson is really good. So I think that plays into it. And the Panthers defense that was already really, really good. I mean, if McCaffrey can come back and actually be healthy, they might seriously challenge the Bucs for the division. Because their defense is really good. I know they gave up a lot of points to Dallas,
Yeah,
But
they lose what? They lose J.C. Horn, then they get the dude from. They got the dude from Jacksonville.
Oh yeah, C.J. Henderson, and then Gilmore, and then you look at safeties. Jeremy Chin, second round pick, Southern Illinois last year. He's a stud. He can hit. I mean, Brian Burns is one of the best edge rushers in the league now. They have who's the defensive tackle? They have Derek Thomas, I believe, is his name. From
I'm saying, is it a slap in the face that you just got traded for a 6th round pick 2 years from now?
I don't think he cares about it, honestly, because he's from Carolina. I think he wanted to go back there. I don't think that he cared what they got for him because he was going to be traded anyway or cut. Honestly, getting cut is more of a slap in the face than traded at this point, even though it's a lackluster return for an all-pro. But
I'm surprised that Carolina can take this much salary on.
Well, that's pretty much the difference between them and other teams like the Packers and Bucks and Saints have no cap space. So, yeah, I don't know. Well, the Patriots already paid like $1 million, so he's only owed like 5 something this year.
I'm just surprised they have that much open.
Yeah, I mean, IR plays into it, I'm sure. Sure, J.C. Horn's salary for a rookie was fairly high too compared to what it's been in the past for first-round picks. But, yeah, the Panthers pretty legit. We'll see if they can keep it up on offense. That Panthers-Bucks game, when they play first time, is going to be very interesting because I think that they can get after Brady. Then we've seen teams been able to do that. Can you get to Brady without blitzing? It's going to be the big question. The Bears finally pony up and give in and say Justin Fields is a starter. I mean, is there a more overrated rookie quarterback in the history of the game? He doesn't even have a touchdown this year. Wow, he had a bunch of yards and moved up and down the field in the Lions, who literally have – I think you and I could play corner for the Lions right now.
And they also just lost Montgomery.
Yeah, he should be the starter. I think it's still the position, Nick Foles is done. Dalton, I wouldn't want to throw him out there with a knee injury when he can't really move that much to begin with. But, Fields hasn't done anything, and we act like he's some sort of star. You know who's played better than Fields this year? I would say Zach Wilson has played better than Fields because a lot of the picks that Zach Wilson have thrown, I wouldn't blame him for. You look at 2 of them against New England, not his fault. The one last week is not his fault. He's actually shown flashes. What has Fields shown you? He can move. Cool.
They keep going back and forth. After the first or second, was it week 1 when Andy Dalton got hurt? Week 2.
Week 2 against the Bengals. Yeah.
And they put Fields in, then they say it's still going to be an open competition, and it's Andy Dalton's team when he comes back. And the next week it's open for all three. Yet Foles has not gotten any time.
He sucks anyway, though.
I'm just saying, you keep bouncing around on what you're going to say. So next week it could be Nick Foles' turn.
Here's the thing. Number 1, Matt Nagy's an idiot. Number 2, after about the 6th time that Fields got sacked against the Browns, you just throw Foles out there, right? Even though you are kind of, you're asking him to get killed on the field, but it's weird.
You're asking a guy who stays in the pocket and probably more.
They need a mobile quarterback though, because their line is not very good.
Yeah, I'm more meaning he's more stable under the pressure since he's been in there, and he's a lot taller than Fields, where he can see a lot more.
Yeah, but that theory didn't really work last year though, because against Minnesota, he was just getting killed in Chicago, and he was terrible under pressure. But at the end of the day, they're a 2-2 team. They're not dead. We'll see if Fields can actually show you something because he hasn't shown me anything yet other than what we already knew, which is that he has a good arm, and he has a good arm and he can run. But other than that, what has he shown you? I mean, I know the Browns game was an impossible situation because I'm surprised he didn't get hurt in that game, getting sacked 9 times. But, yeah, I don't know. I just think that pretty overhyped, but we'll see. Maybe he'll show us something. And the Bears' history with quarterbacks shouldn't make you get excited about anything because it's not good. But, all right, on to the golf.
Yeah, the Sanderson Farm Championship last week, winner Sam Burns won $1.25 million, shot 22 under.
Yeah, he was the favorite. Gets it done. I think he's going to be a serious candidate for the Ryder Cup team in 2023 for the U.S. And he's a big-time young golfer.
Yeah, and then this weekend you have the Shriners Children's Open, defending champion Martin Laird.
Yeah, he's not going to win this week. We got some big names playing this week.
It's at TPC Summerlin in Las Vegas.
Speaking of Las Vegas will be the site of the DeChambeau versus Koepka match the day after Thanksgiving. 12-hole match, which 12 holes, that's a disgrace. It should be 18, but they'll be going head-to-head in the next match on TNT day after Thanksgiving in Wynn, Vegas, I believe.
Have they said who's playing with them?
I think it's just them 1 versus 1.
Oh, and then also Vegas is the host of the Maui Invitational this year. Last year it was in North Carolina, I'm thinking Greensboro. Now it's in Vegas.
They got a good field for that. I got to check that out again. I like the field. It's pretty solid field.
They're hoping in 2022 to get it back in Maui.
Yeah, I mean, you look at what they have going there. I mean, pretty good group, you know.
I thought it was on the right field.
Well, you know, there's always some questionable teams in there. I'm trying to find the list. I had the list.
It should be right there on the main link in college basketball.
22nd. Okay, yeah. Texas A&M, Wisconsin. Does that sound right? I think I got the right field. Butler, Houston, Oregon, Chaminade, St. Mary's, Notre Dame. I think that's it.
Yeah, A&M, Wisconsin, Butler, Houston, Oregon, Chaminade, St. Mary's, and Notre Dame.
Yeah, it's not as good as it could be. I mean, Oregon's pretty good. Butler was terrible last year. Maybe they'll bounce back. Chaminade's going to get beat by 70 against Oregon. St. Mary's is always solid. Notre Dame has been pretty bad. Wisconsin, who knows what they are. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Interesting field, though. It's always something that you'll watch, but it'd be nice if they had like a Duke or Gonzaga or North Carolina in there. Or in Illinois, obviously, you know. Yeah. Major League Baseball. Last night, the AL wildcard game. Garrett Cole, $324 million man. Last 2 innings, as the Red Sox beat the Yankees 6-1. You had the 2-run shot from Xander Bogaerts in the first. You had Kyle Schwarber hit an absolute bomb off of Garrett Cole in the third. It was in the third because he got into the third. He didn't get a 7th out. So the Yankees, I think we're going to see some major changes from them this offseason. I think number 1 is they're going to sign a shortstop, and I think it's going to be either Trevor Story, Corey Seager, or Carlos Correa. I think could all end up there. And you look at the Yankees, what
happened to Didi?
He signed in Philly, and then I think he got hurt, and then he re-signed in Philly. So I think he's still in Philly. But their shortstop position has been a disaster. Gleyber Torres is a terrible defender, so he can't play there. Then you're asking Gio Urshela, who's a very good third baseman defensively, to play short. It's just disastrous. And the Yankees, Boone doesn't have a contract there, so I wonder if he's gone. We'll see if Brian Cashman, the GM's gone. We'll see. Playoff record over the last 20 years for the Yankees, 16-2 against the Twins, 43-58 against everybody else. And they haven't won a World Series since 2009. So they're going to make some changes, I think. We'll see. But the Red Sox move on. They'll face the Rays. I believe game 1 of that series is tomorrow. So I'll make a pick on that in game 1. And I'm glad that I picked the Yankees to win the World Series because that means that my pick is dead after 1 day. So that's it. Speaking of New York baseball.
I don't remember what my picks were. I have to go back and look.
Well, I don't know if I picked the Yankees preseason, but I picked them when the bracket came out. So
I think I had the Twins.
Well, I know you had the Indians making the playoffs.
Oh, the Indians, I mean.
Yeah. The Mets declined option on manager Luis Rojas' contract. They'll be looking for a new manager. They're also looking for a president of baseball operations. I know people thought about Theo Epstein maybe ending up there. That's not going to happen. It doesn't look like David Stearns, who is the Brewers president, doesn't look like that's going to happen either. So interesting to see what happens there. You have Cardinals and Dodgers tonight. I believe the people who watch the video know where our allegiances live for this. Wainwright, Scherzer, Dodger Stadium, 7-something our time, 5 o'clock West Coast, 8 o'clock East Coast. This is a house money spot for the Cardinals. It really is. Because if you lose, well, you say this. They were facing one of the best pitchers in the league, one of the best pitchers of all time probably, and the team that they were playing won 106 games. If they win, house money. So we'll see. Either way, as a Cardinal fan, you never really want to say you're happy to be here, but I'm surprised to be here. I'll put it that way, because where they were a few months ago was dead. And,
yeah, because you're one of the guys that gives up on a team early.
I do that, yeah, and I definitely did that this year. I mean, many times. I think most of us did, though, because they were just really bad middle of the season. But you got the postseason matchups all set. ALDS, Rays, Red Sox, White Sox, Astros, Braves, Brewers, and then the Giants will face the winner of the Dodgers and Cardinals tonight. If I had to make picks off the top of my head right now, I think the Red Sox beat the Rays. I think the White Sox beat the Astros. I think the Brewers beat the Braves. And I think the Dodgers win tonight and beat the Dodgers. The Dodgers win tonight and beat the Giants. So, yeah, there you go. And right now,
what week did we do the MLB?
It had to be only within the first 6 episodes of the program, I think. What I do know right now is that I think the Dodgers might win the World Series again, but they got to get through this. Tonight. We'll see. Let's go to the NHL as you search for your picks. We'll get to those momentarily. I think I could probably find the date of when we did it, but I don't know. The NHL season starts next Tuesday. All right, found it. Go for it.
It was week 4.
I have mine as well.
I mean, I had Trout winning the MVP, Tyler Glasgow winning the Cy Young.
Both of them got hurt. Missed a lot of the season.
Andrew Vaught, first baseman, won Rookie of the Year. Then I had Tatis Jr., DeGrom, and Ian Anderson.
The DeGrom thing looked good for a few months.
Let's see who I can make the playoffs. I had the Blue Jays, Indians, and Angels. And then I had the White Sox and Houston in the wild card. So I got 2 playoff teams out of the American League. And then I had Braves, Cardinals, Dodgers, Padres, and Milwaukee. So I have 4 out of the 5 NL teams.
So AL-wise, I had the Yankees, Rays, White Sox, Astros. The one that I missed was I had the Indians in over the Red Sox. And then in the NL, I had the Braves, Cardinals, Dodgers. And then I missed Giants and Brewers. I had the Braves beating the Yankees in 6 games to win the World Series. I had LeMahieu, MVP in the AL, not even close. Acuna, NL MVP, got hurt. Cy Youngs, I had Cole and Buehler, not going to happen. Rookies of the year, I had Dalbec and Carlson. So, yeah, didn't hit on those. But not bad picks overall. My World Series champion from the preseason, the Braves, still alive, although it doesn't look good. So we'll see.
Yeah, I had the Indians versus the Dodgers, and the Indians winning.
That's a tough one. Definitely a tough one.
Hey, if the Dodgers make it there, at least I got 1 team.
That's true. That is true. Let's see. The NHL season starts next Tuesday. It's going to be an exciting season, full season. We're back. My personal Stanley Cup winner is the who the hell did I pick? Vegas. I believe I picked the Vegas Golden Knights to beat the Florida Panthers. I had the Vegas Golden Knights to beat the Carolina Hurricanes in the Stanley Cup final. Yeah, that's all I had.
I think the East comes down to between Boston and Tampa.
Yeah, I mean, Florida is still in the mix, I think, as long as their goaltending is better. I think Spencer Knight's going to emerge this year as their number 1 goaltender because Bobrovsky's kind of bad now. Other than that, though, yeah, there's not much. There's good, like Carolina's still good. Toronto, I don't think is going to do anything with this core at this point, unless
and
they
where
really
did
shock you.
Where did Chars sign?
Islanders.
Yeah.
I had the Islanders missing the playoffs, even though they made it to the conference final the last 2 years. But I don't know. I still think they'll be good. I just don't think that they'll be as good. So we'll see. The NHL season will kick off, and we'll be back into the hockey picks next Wednesday as the action kicks off Tuesday on ESPN. I don't remember the games off the top of my head, but I believe that it's like Lightning. The Lightning play somebody. Lightning, Penguins, Kraken, Golden Knights. ESPN is how they start. And then TNT, their first broadcast will be on Wednesday, and it's hilarious because I saw a picture of their set, and you got Biz Nasty sitting next to Wayne Gretzky. Who would have ever thought they'd see that on national TV? That's something there. They'll have Rangers, Capitals, Blackhawks, Avalanche. And as a Blues fan, one thing that annoys me is that the Blues season – the season starts next Tuesday. The Blues don't play until Saturday. What the hell is that? I mean, that is ridiculous. They got to be one of the last teams to start. And your Bruins, they'll start off on where the hell are they at? I guess they don't play till Saturday either. I mean, both teams getting hosed here. What the hell is this? That makes no sense to me. I don't get it, but there you go. NHL season next week. And then you also had Quinn Hughes and Elias Pettersson re-signing. RFAs getting it done for the Canucks. Their season pretty much depends on if those two are playing well. And then Team Canada picked their 3 automatic roster players for the Olympics. Sidney Crosby, Connor McDavid, Alex Pietrangelo. So 3 obvious picks that they were always going to make. And there you go.
2 of them obvious.
Well, Pietrangelo is one of the best defenders they have in Canada. And
that wasn't the one that wasn't obvious.
Well, I feel like, Crosby, come on. Crosby and your 2 boys on that line, Crosby, Marchand, Bergeron, very, very good. Probably Team Canada's best line every year, except for this year because if you have McDavid and McKinnon on the line, I don't really know how you can beat that. But, all right, college football, top 25, that's where we go.
You got Bama stays at 1, Georgia stays at 2, Iowa leapfrogs Penn State and goes up to 3, then Penn State stays at 4.
Penn State's going to beat them this week.
Cincinnati up to number 5. Oklahoma stays at 6. Ohio State up 4 to number 7. Oregon drops 5 to number 8. Michigan goes up 5 to number 9. BYU climbs to number 10, goes up 3 spots. Michigan State up 6 spots, number 11. Oklahoma State up 7 spots, number 12. Arkansas drops 5 spots, number 13. Notre Dame drops 5 to number 14. Coastal Carolina goes up 1 to number 15. How far do you think Coastal Carolina can climb? Can they crack the top 10 if they go undefeated?
Yeah, if they go undefeated, they should be in the top 12 at least, you'd think. I mean, there's a lot of teams falling. Like, you got to think that, Iowa, Penn State, they're not going to drop that much based on this week. Cincinnati could have a letdown somewhere. I don't think Oklahoma is as good as their ranking. Ohio State's not as good as their ranking. Oregon got completely screwed. They should be number 1. Everybody knows it. They should have won last week. They got screwed on that defensive pass interference on 4th down that would have ended the game. That wasn't even close. Michigan State's very good. But, yeah, Coastal Carolina, they have a good reputation. That kind of helps. Like last year, they were very good, and they made Zach Wilson look bad when they played. So, yeah, they have a good reputation. So they can get there, I think.
Then you got Kentucky up to number 16, who is unranked. Ole Miss drops 5 to 17. Auburn up 4 to 18. 19, you have Wake Forest moving up 5 spots. Florida drops 10 spots to number 20. Texas gets in at number 21 after being not ranked. Arizona State back in after being unranked at 22. NC State stays at 23. SMU jumps in at 24 after being unranked. And number 25 is San Diego State, also not ranked.
Clemson out of it.
Yep. How long has it been since that's?
It's got to be a while.
They've not been ranked.
Pre-Trevor Lawrence, I assume. 1913.
Before that, you had Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, that's true. Pre-Watson, probably. I forgot about Watson, man. I just forgot that he even existed. He's not even playing now, but they were this close to losing to Boston College because Boston College fumbled down 6 at the end. Clemson's terrible. They really are. I'm going to look it up. When was the last time Clemson wasn't in the top 25? First time since November 2014. That's 107. That's 107 releases of the top 25 straight that they were in it, and now they're not. So it's over for Clemson. Congrats, they're terrible. But yeah, they drop out of it with a win, which isn't surprising because they should have not barely beat Boston College, who's not very good. But how about another SEC team?
They shouldn't have been in either, because we talked about how Texas should have been over them. They got that pity vote to get 25. Yeah,
I think that's true. Speaking of Boston College, who lost to Missouri the week before, Missouri is terrible. Like, Missouri was losing 28-7 in the first quarter against Tennessee. It's not like they're playing Alabama. They're playing Tennessee. Missouri's bad, so keep an eye on that. Let's see, because the honeymoon phase for that coach, Drinkowitz or whatever, who people still like there, it's going to end soon. To the betting we go. Last week, I went 11-10. 6-2 in the NFL, my best NFL week by far. I was really bad in the NFL prior. 3-5 in college football, 1-3 in Major League Baseball. I picked Burns to win at the Sanderson Farms Championship. So 11-10 overall puts me at 132 and 121 overall. So
I went 10-11. I was 4-4 in the NFL, 4-4 in college football, 1-3 in college baseball, and then I also had Sam Burns winning. So I am now sitting at 136 and 122, about 2.5 games or so up on Ethan.
Yeah, I'm falling apart, but we knew what happened. The NHL could bring me back, though, because hopefully I start out hot this year in the NHL. We'll see, though. I usually overthink these things, but Shriners Children Open this week. Some big names playing in it. My picks to win: Brooks Koepka plus 1,600. Scotty Scheffler coming off a dominant Ryder Cup performance on the singles day at least, plus 2,200 to win. And Patrick Reed, who was snubbed off of the U.S. team, according to himself, plus 4,000 to win. And then finishing top 5, Charlie Hoffman plus 900. And finishing top 10, a guy who has said that he is looking to be back this year, playing well. And I think he's going to be better this year. Ricky Fowler plus 700 to finish top 10. And that's my pick for the Shriners Children Open.
I got Brooks Koepka and Scotty Scheffler as well, and then I also have Louis O at plus 1,800. Top 5 is Will Zalatoris at plus 400, and my top 10 finish is Hideki Matsuyama at plus 230.
All right, college football week 7. Power 5 conference games. My picks in the Big Ten, I'm going against Rutgers because I was convinced. Many Saints Newark coming out. Gandolfini, the guy who played Tony Soprano, who passed away, big Rutgers guy. I thought there was no way that they weren't going to cover against Ohio State. They got destroyed. That was like 50-something to 10 right away. But give me Michigan State, who looks very good, minus 5.5 at Rutgers. In the SEC, I'll take Ole Miss, minus 5 against Arkansas. In the ACC, taking a bit of a shot here, taking Syracuse plus 6 at home against Wake Forest. And then a layup in the Pac-12, in my opinion, UCLA minus 16 against Arizona. And then I'll take TCU minus 2 at Texas Tech.
In the ACC, I have Virginia plus 2.5 over Louisville. Big 12, I have Texas Tech plus 1.5 over TCU. Big 10, I have Michigan minus 3.5 over Nebraska. Shout out to the boys.
Shout out.
Pac-12, Oregon State minus 3.5 over Washington State. And then the SEC, I have Arkansas plus 5 over Ole Miss.
All right, primetime picks. I'm taking 2 dogs and a favorite.
Yeah, we got number 6 Oklahoma versus number 21 Texas.
That'll be an interesting game because it's a big rivalry game. I like Texas plus 3.5 against an Oklahoma team that has not looked very good this year.
I'm going to take Oklahoma minus 3.5.
And then the second game is what?
Number 2 Georgia versus number 18 Auburn.
Yeah, Georgia looks very good. Georgia looks like they might be the only team that can keep up with Alabama. So I'm going to take Georgia, a big number, over Auburn.
Yeah, 15.5.
Yeah, 15.5. I'm going to take it. Didn't take it last week. They were 18-point favorites against Arkansas. They destroyed Arkansas. So, yeah, I'll take Georgia.
Yeah, I took the same thing.
All right, then your boys. Big game.
Yeah. Number 4 Penn State versus number 3 Iowa. Iowa's a 1.5-point favorite.
So here's how I approach this game. Penn State defensively looks very, very good. The big question for Iowa overall throughout the season has been their offense. I think I trust Penn State's quarterback more. I believe it's Sean Clifford is his name, if I'm accurate there. I'm taking Penn State. They've looked very good this year. Don't care where it's at. Penn State plus 1.5. I'm going with it.
Yep.
All right.
I agree.
NFL Week 5. Thursday Night Football. Rams, Seahawks. Give me the Rams minus 2.5 at the Seahawks.
I'm taking the same thing. And this is like, 3 years ago, this is a matchup.
Yeah. Seattle's not as good anymore.
Right now, I don't even know how the line's this close.
I agree. I think the only thing keeping it this close is where it's at. Because it is hard to play in Seattle, but Stafford lost a playoff game there, so he knows the atmosphere, because the only time that he ever did anything with the Lions was when they lost that playoff game in Seattle. So, all right, my Sunday picks, 5 picks. I'm picking all favorites, by the way. The Patriots minus 8.5 at the Texans. I think Bill Belichick's record against rookie quarterbacks speaks for itself. And if Davis Mills is the quarterback for the Texans this week, they have no chance. Give me the Panthers minus 3.5 against the Eagles. Give me the Chargers minus 1.5 against the Browns. Niners plus 5.5. I don't know why I put minus. Plus 5.5 at the Arizona Cardinals. And the Steelers minus 1 against the Broncos, because it can't get much worse than it already is for the Steelers.
I got the Falcons minus 3 against the Jets in London. Carolina minus 3.5 against the Eagles. Titans minus 4 versus the Jags, because if the Titans lose to the Jaguars, something is definitely wrong there.
Yes.
And then I have the Pats minus 9 over the Texans, and I also have the Chargers minus 1.5 versus the Browns.
All right, Sunday Night Football, intriguing game, Bills-Chiefs. I think the Bills are better, to be honest. I really do. I don't care about the schedule and who the Bills have played. I just think that they're better, and I think they win this game plus 2.5 at the Chiefs. Going with it.
I have the Chiefs minus 2.5.
My philosophy is that the Chiefs' defense sucks, and the Bills' defense is actually kind of good. So I'm just going to go with that. And it probably won't work, but we'll go with it. Ravens-Colts, Monday Night Football. Colts are bad. They played a bad Dolphins team last week. I'll take the Ravens, who look to be rolling minus 7 against Indy.
I as well have the Ravens.
All right, MLB postseason. We got tonight's game, and then we got the game ones in the ALDS and the NLDS. Tonight's game, I'm taking the Dodgers, huge favorite, minus 235 against the Cardinals. I know a lot of people are like, the Cardinals postseason history against the Dodgers. It was 7 years ago. I mean, it's just different. And the Dodgers are way better, but it is a one-off. It's a one game. You never know what can happen. But if it was anybody other than Scherzer, I would feel so much better. But the Cardinals cannot hit Scherzer.
It is Waino, too.
Yeah, but Wainwright, he's going to give up a couple runs. I think that's a guaranteed. So it's all about, can they actually score against Scherzer? Because in that series at Busch a few weeks ago, where they split it 2-2, Cardinals didn't hit Scherzer. Dodgers got a few runs off of Waino. Cardinals still won, but the Cardinals cannot hit Scherzer. They got shut out by him twice this year.
I have the Cardinals plus 190.
I hope you're right. I really do. It'd be so great if you were right, but we'll see. ALDS Game 1, White Sox, Astros. McCullers on the bump for the Stros, looking like it's going to be Lance Lynn. If it's not Lance Lynn, then La Russa's stupid, in my opinion. Against the Astros. Give me the White Sox plus 125 in that game.
I got Houston minus 145.
All right. Red Sox, Rays, game 1. It's going to be McClanahan, I believe, on the bump for the Rays. Don't know who it's going to be for the Red Sox. Sale pitch Sunday. I don't know who they go with if it's not him. I'm going to take them anyway, though. I think the Red Sox are going to make a run like they always do, plus 155 at the Rays in game 1.
I have the same pick.
Brewers, Braves, American Family Field, Milwaukee. Give me the Brewers. I think it's going to be really hard to take their pitching down. Minus 145 Brewers over the Braves.
I have the Braves plus 125.
I believe it's Charlie Morton and probably Corbin Burns in that one. So that should be interesting to see. Lots to discuss next week. We'll have the hockey picks back. NBA season opening soon to talk about. NFL recap, college football recap, MLB postseason recap. All of it coming next in number 33 next week, and we'll see you then.